What's going on? Luke from USA Carry here, and today we're taking a look at and reviewing the new Taurus GX4. It's their new Microcompact 9. But before we get into that, if you're new to this channel, I do guns and gear review, other firearm related content. So if you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified of new videos. All right, so the Taurus GX4 is their new Microcompact 9. This is not like a new version of the GX3 or anything like that. It's a completely new pistol. So this is going up against the SIG 365, the Hellcat, and the Shield Plus, but this is like the Performance Center one with the longer barrel. And I think the Ruger Max 9 is the only other one. If I'm forgetting one, let me know in the comments. I don't have that one here with me today. So to start off, it comes in a hard case plastic box. You get a gun with it, which is pretty cool. You get two standard magazines and another backstrap, which I think this is the only one of the Microcompact 9s that has interchangeable backstraps. The GX4 holds 11 rounds in the magazine, one in the chamber, so that gives you 12. Compared to the other ones, you've got 10 plus 1 in the 365, 10 plus 1 in the Shield Plus, and 11 plus 1 in the Hellcat, and the Max 9 has 10 plus 1, I believe. So it's on par with the rest of them. It's got one more than the SIG, Ruger, and the Smith & Wesson, so just comparing them. So I don't have the flush mag for the 365, so now holding them up over each other, they're fairly similar in length and width. And you'll notice this undercut is pretty close, and I'll get to that in a second. I think out of the four that I have, it's most similar to 365. Now, again, this is the Performance Center Shield Plus, so you've got the longer barrel, but comparing it to that, this one I noticed a big difference. It's about the same size. The Shield's a little longer. You'll notice the undercut and the trigger and all starts way higher. So that said, I can barely, a little bit of my pinky can get on the Shield Plus magazine, but with the Taurus GX4, I can almost get all of my pinky on it without the pinky extension. I used to carry the Hellcat, and I would always carry it with the pinky extension because that's not what I have a problem concealing. It's these little corners here that tend to print for me. I carry appendix, so the pinky extension doesn't print at all. So I usually run it with that. So this does not come with the pinky extension mag, so I don't have any. You can buy them. But the fact that I can get a pretty good grip, a fairly good grip on this tiny gun is pretty cool. So just to compare it to the Hellcat, very similar, but again, the undercut is a big difference. It's almost like a half a finger more room. Again, very similar size and specs, but you do get a little bit more room on the grip to fit your fingers with the GX4 from what I'm seeing. Or it's very close to the 365. All right, enough rambling on that. Now that the comparisons are out of the way, let's talk about how it's shot. So the first day I was at the range, I shot over 2 days. My buddy David was at the range shooting as well, so I was like, hey, what are you shooting? What are you reviewing? So he was interested, he came over and helped me shoot the gun, which I didn't mind. It was hot, so somebody else to load mags and shoot is always welcome. So we both put a magazine down range, and we both kind of said the same thing, like, huh, we're pretty surprised. It shoots really good, it feels good. Like I said, I can pretty much get an almost full grip on it, so my pinky isn't sliding off or anything like that. It shot really good. I mean, all of these Micro 9 compacts are gonna be snappy. It's a 9mm coming out of a tiny little gun. So yeah, it is gonna be a snappy gun. Mostly I've shot the Hellcat a lot, like 10,000 rounds a lot. I'll link to that video up here if you wanna watch us do a torture test on that. But, you know, they're not unbearable, in my opinion. They're not like shooting some of the old, well, they're still around, but the real small 380s or the pocket guns that are never fun to shoot. This isn't too bad. We put about 330 rounds through it the first day, and then the second day I put about 250 rounds. I had no issue shooting it. I don't have blisters or anything like that, but again, it's not a whole lot of rounds in one day, but it shot well. Now, was the GX4 any more or less snappier than the other guns? I couldn't really tell just on the range shooting it. What I wanted to do was do the recoil test with the Mantis X system, but I didn't have a new magazine adapter. It's a little adhesive thing you stick on the bottom that the Mantis X can go on. I didn't have a new one, so I pulled one off an old magazine and was hoping that it would work, which it didn't. Yeah, so obviously that didn't work, so we don't have that data. Like I said, I don't think it's any snappier than any of the other pistols. It's definitely manageable. I don't think I'd have any problems bringing this gun to a 1 or 2 day pistol course and running 5 to 1,000 rounds in a couple days with it. I felt like I was able to handle the recoil pretty well and get back on target pretty quick. I think David did a little bit better than me. Here's some slow-mo clips of both of us shooting, and you can kind of see the recoil a little bit better than just full speed, so. So now let's go over some of the features. It's got a flat face trigger. It does have the trigger safety on it. Some people love it, some people hate it. I really could care less. These never get in my way or they don't bother me. I'm noticing, comparing this trigger to the other 3 that I have sitting here, the Hellcat and the 365 and the Smith & Wesson, it has a wider blade. And this blade also, it's got some serrations or texturing going up and down to, I guess, like help your trigger finger from slipping. Now, as far as the trigger itself, I've said it before, I'm not like a trigger snob. I don't replace triggers in my guns to upgrade them or anything like that. I just run stock triggers on everything. I don't know, the trigger feels really nice on this. After shooting it, I do really like the trigger and doing some dry fire with it. So a little bit of take up, and there's a clear wall right there. Break the shot. Short reset. Yeah, it's got a nice clean break. The reset's nice. I like it. Sights, you've got a white dot front sight, and it's not zooming in on it, you can see the blur. And you've got some blacked out rear sights, which I like. It's one thing David mentioned when he was looking at it. He likes that they didn't go with the 3-dot sight system. So blacked out rears, single dot in the front. I don't see any reason why you would want to replace them unless you wanted some night sights. But other than that, I think these are probably good to go to run out of the box. What I was a little disappointed in, but whatever, it's not cut for an optic. I kind of just wish all new guns just come pre-cut for optics. But I think Taurus should be coming out with slides that are optic cut, so that would be awesome. I run red dots on my carry guns and anything else I can put them on. I have noticed, I've been doing that for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, but since I turned 40, 2.5 years ago, my eyesight has taken a shit, and I'm kind of relying on that red dot now. So it's definitely helpful, I think. So I would have loved to seen it come with a cut, but I'm sure it's coming soon. And all right, so the grip texture, it's got that kind of micro dot grip texture, whatever you want to call it, stifling. I do really like this type of texture. It's very similar to what you got on all of the other guns. I can't tell if it's different on the side than the back and the front, but there's definitely a color difference, but I can't really see a difference in the actual texture. You also have the same stippling up here on both sides as an index point for your finger. It was probably 99, 100 degrees, I think it was, when David and I were shooting, and it was just as hot the next day when I was shooting it. I'm usually the sweatest guy in jiu-jitsu class, so I'm constantly sweating. So I kind of put these guns to the test as far as sweat and controlling it when I'm reviewing them down here. I didn't have a problem holding onto this gun. It wasn't slipping through my hands, so grip texture works just fine. Some other features, you've got these cuts in the grip and in the magazine. You can see the little cuts in there. So that's for if you had to strip the magazine out from a malfunction or something like that. it didn't malfunction, so I didn't have to do that. It didn't malfunction once. The takedown is actually pretty easy. You do need a screwdriver or something flat to put in this takedown pin to turn it. I'm not gonna do the takedown here on camera because YouTube doesn't like that apparently, but it's super easy. So I was like, at first I was like, that kind of sucks that I have to have a tool to take it down. But really you just need a flathead screwdriver, or you can use their Taurus takedown keychain. That's like $5 on their website. Or I think I took it down. I was sitting here at my desk and I just looked in my little drawer. I had this little angle, I don't know, angle mount, whatever you want to call this thing. And I just stuck that in there and turned it. And it worked just fine. So it's super easy. Once you pull the trigger, you turn that, the slide comes off. You put the slide back on, lock it to the rear, drop it forward, and then you have to make sure that this notch is horizontal and not sideways. But every time I've taken it down and put it back together, when I drive the slide forward, that notch turns forward by itself. So it's pretty quick and easy. So I have to say I do like the takedown process, even though you do need a tool, but you usually have something flat lying around, or just go get a screwdriver. As far as being ambidextrous, the only thing is the reversible magazine release, and that's it. If you're into that kind of thing, cool. So overall, how did it shoot? The first day I shot with David, we shot about 330 rounds, and then I went back 2 days later and got about 250 rounds through it. So about 600, a little bit more than 600, and we did not have a single malfunction, 0. So this is obviously not a long-term review, but I'm very happy with how this gun shot, handled, and how it performed. Like I said, 0 malfunctions. There's no complaints there. Most of the ammo we put through it was CCI Blazer brass, mixed in with some, I think, like Red Army steel case ammo, and then some random hollow points. No issues with any of them. So would I carry this as a concealed carry pistol? Yes, I would carry it. I personally would want to get a bit more rounds through it and some more time behind the gun, some dry fire, just some more training with it before I carry it. The couple things that stand out of what I do really like about this gun is, I kind of hate to say it, but I like the way it feels in my hand. I know that's like every gun review, but specifically, and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about here. You got pretty much a flat surface here with this long grip texture. The slide release is back here. The takedown pin, it's just a pin, so it doesn't come out. So all you have is a nice flat surface, and my thumb rides nicely on there. So it's nice and flat. It's got a good reference point for my thumb. I can put pressure up against the gun when I'm gripping it. Now, compare that to the Hellcat that I've shot a lot. The Hellcat has a similar dimple that's textured, which goes in, but you also have this takedown pin here. So you almost have pin coming out and then the dimple coming in. So where my thumb sits, my thumb kind of hits here. It's kind of like, all right, do I want to put my thumb into the dimple? So you kind of got this little seesaw. It's not the biggest deal in the world. Like I said, I shot this gun a lot. You know, you just kind of use it as an index point. But feeling the GX4, where it's completely flat and it's got a nice texture, I do really like that. So that's one thing that stood out with the GX4 that I like. And then again, like I said before, the fact that you've got this high undercut and I can pretty much get almost a whole grip on there. Again, I'd still run the pinky extension. So that being said, a couple things I don't like about the gun is the fact that they didn't give you a pinky extension. It wasn't available when they sent me this gun, but you can buy them on their website now and it's like $5 or $6. I feel like they could have just threw one in there, but I get that they're trying to come in at a low price point, so those type of things are extras and you have to buy them. And again, like I discussed, doesn't come with optic cut. I'm really nitpicking here, so those are really the only two things I don't like about it. So I think Taurus does actually have a winner on their hands with this new GX4. I'd say it's definitely a solid option if you're looking at picking up a Microcompact 9 and you've got the 4 or 5 pistols to choose from, especially since it's coming in at a $392.42 MSRP. It's quite a bit cheaper than the other pistols on the market. And I think that's gonna do it for this review. If you liked it, please give us a like. And while you're down there, go hit subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos, leave a comment. All that stuff helps the channel and I really appreciate it. So we'll see you in the next one.